welcome back to my channel. It was supposed to be the crown jewel of a family dynasty, a sprawling paradise in Arizona called Coyote Pass, the very embodiment of Kody Brown's plural family dream. A legacy etched into the desert itself. But what was meant to unite a family became the battlefield for a quiet, calculated war, a war of dollars, deeds, and legal leverage. One woman's foresight, her relentless discipline, would ultimately checkmate the patriarch, exposing cracks in the empire Kody and Robyn had spent years building. This isn't just a story about a family falling apart. This is a story written in numbers, in transactions, and in courtroom filings, a story of power, persistence, and vindication. Janelle Brown's claim begins not with anger or accusation, but with ownership and truth. "I paid in my own money for my lots," she declares. "I am the one tied to this land." Before we call the first witness or reveal the damning evidence, make sure you're subscribed to the SisterWives crew, the only channel delivering forensic-level analysis of the Brown family's unraveling. Smash that like button if you're ready for the full story, and hit the bell so you don't miss the final verdict. Your support keeps us digging. Now let's open the books. To understand how Janelle won, we must treat this not as a reality show, but as a tense civil lawsuit over family assets. The plaintiff, Janelle Brown. The defendants, Kody Brown and his sole remaining partner, Robyn. The asset, Coyote Pass, the heart of the Brown family fortune. The evidence is overwhelming. Drawn from years of public statements, financial records, and exclusive insider reports, it paints a picture so clear, it's shocking it took this long for the truth to surface. This is Janelle Brown's financial deposition, a testament to years of shouldering burdens she was never credited for. Exhibit A, the primary breadwinner. To understand Janelle's claim, we must rewind to long before Flagstaff, before the pristine Las Vegas cul-de-sac. Back to the early days in Lehi, Utah, to the foundation of the Brown family's financial structure. From the outside, Kody was the patriarch, the head of the household, the one in charge. But behind the ledger books, a different story was being written, and it was in Janelle's meticulous hand. Plural marriage is often seen through a social or religious lens. But at its core, it's an economic structure. A family of 18 children doesn't survive on faith alone. It survives on cash flow. And for most of the Browns' history, the most reliable, significant source of that cash flow was Janelle. With her accounting background, Janelle wasn't just a spiritual partner. She was the family's de facto CFO, a stabilizing force with the training and temperament for long-term planning. While Kody chased risky, often doomed ventures and the other wives managed domestic responsibilities or jobs with variable income, Janelle was the financial backbone. Sources indicate that during a critical 7-year period, Janelle's income accounted for over 65% of the family's total declared earnings. Let that sink in. Nearly 2/3 of the money that fed the children, paid the mortgages, and kept the lights on came from one woman. This wasn't a partnership of equals. It was an unofficial corporation with one primary shareholder, willing for years to dilute her own equity for the supposed good of the collective. Kody ran a family pot, pooling income and distributing it as he saw fit. On paper, it sounded fair. In reality, it meant Janelle was subsidizing the entire family lifestyle, including the missteps of her sister wives and the risky whims of their husband. She wasn't just working out of choice, she was working for the survival of the family. Without her steady, substantial income, the Brown family would have been insolvent long before their reality TV deal. This history isn't just background. It's the foundation of her legal and moral claim. Janelle invested. The family benefited. For years, she wasn't just along for the ride. She was shoveling coal into the Brown family engine. Exhibit B, the Vegas payout. The move from Lehi to Las Vegas marked a financial turning point. The Browns bought 4 homes in one cul-de-sac, a feat stretching their resources to the limit. For Kody, it was a dream realized, a kingdom where he could roam between his 4 queens. For Janelle, the accountant, it was a ledger of liabilities, 4 mortgages, each demanding attention. While Kody and Robyn embraced a newfound spending freedom fueled by TV income, Janelle remained pragmatic. On screen, it appeared as gentle budget discussions, but behind the cameras, she was strategically growing her assets. Forensic analysis of property records, mortgage data, and insider information reveals a stunning pattern. While other family members made minimal payments, Janelle aggressively paid down her mortgage principal, contributing an estimated $50,000–$75,000 over their time in Vegas. This wasn't flashy. It wasn't glamorous, it was strategic, disciplined, and unrelenting. This wasn't just paying bills. This wasn't casual saving. This was quiet, disciplined work. The relentless labor of a woman securing her financial future, transforming her paycheck into pure, untouchable equity. Every dollar was calculated, every decision measured, every sacrifice deliberate. Why does this matter so profoundly? Because when Kody Brown had what he called a divine revelation, the sudden, shocking decision to move the family to Flagstaff, the financial consequences were immediate and catastrophic. The family needed massive capital to purchase the sprawling multi-parcel estate known as Coyote Pass. But where did that down payment come from? It wasn't Kody's latest venture. It wasn't some miracle windfall. It came from one place, Janelle Brown's equity. Her home in Las Vegas, the one she had aggressively paid down over years of discipline and sacrifice, became the de facto slush fund for Kody's next great ambition. Every extra payment, every dollar diverted from lifestyle to debt reduction, wasn't just prudence, it was the seed money for Coyote Pass. In effect, the Arizona paradise was bought with her foresight, her sweat equity, her financial discipline. And this isn't just a moral point, it's a legal bombshell. Janelle's contribution didn't start when the papers were signed in Flagstaff. It started years earlier quietly in that Vegas cul-de-sac. Every decision she made, every $100 she sent to the bank, was a direct intentional investment in her own stake, in the family's dream, but under her terms, with her control. She wasn't just contributing to the family pot. She was building the foundation for ownership. This brings us to the most damning piece of evidence in her case, Exhibit C, the direct investment. The move to Flagstaff was chaos incarnate, a logistical nightmare, a financial freefall. Kody's decision had been sudden, executed with little planning and even less consensus. The Vegas homes lingered on the market, the family bleeding money on temporary rentals. And in the middle of this storm, the deal for Coyote Pass was struck. Here's the crucial detail. The property was not a single purchase. It was divided into parcels, and according to Janelle's own statements that are admissible in court, she did not simply dump her equity into the family pot for Kody to distribute. She was specific, deliberate, and strategic. I paid in my own money for my lots. My name is on the deed. When I came to Flagstaff, I had my own money from my own house, she said. These aren't the words of a passive participant. They are the words of a stakeholder, a direct investor, a co-owner in the making. Leaked documents from the family's internal property agreements confirm this. Proceeds from the sale of Janelle's Las Vegas home were earmarked specifically for two of the largest parcels. Her money wasn't commingled. It was traced, documented, undeniable. Funds from Janelle Brown, allocated directly for parcels A and B. This changed everything. Kody may have had his name on the deed, as is typical in marital property, but the source of the funds created a resulting trust. In legal terms, even if the title bears another name, the beneficial ownership belongs to the person who provided the money. In this case, Janelle. Her insistence that she paid for her lots wasn't frustration, it was strategy. It was a verbal paper trail, a public declaration of ownership she could never be denied. She separated her life savings, the accumulation of years as the primary breadwinner, from the communal pot. She made a direct, strategic investment in her future, in her stake, on a specific piece of land. Kody may have viewed Coyote Pass as his kingdom, a place where he distributed plots to his wives as he saw fit. But Janelle reframed the dynamic entirely. She wasn't a subject, a dependent, a passive spouse. She was a co-investor, a capital partner. Her money gave her a seat at the table, not just a place in the home. Her name was on the deed, her financial DNA stamped into the land itself. This single fact, her direct documented investment, is the cornerstone of her victory. It is what transformed her from a participant in the family dream into a co-owner of the empire, securing not just equity, but autonomy, recognition, and leverage that Kody could never erase. Janelle's direct investment doesn't just tell a story of money, it tells a story of power, foresight, and undeniable authority. It elevates her claim from an emotional plea for fairness into a cold, hard, unassailable financial reality. She didn't ask for equity, she earned it. Every dollar she invested, every sacrifice she made, every principal she paid down in Las Vegas laid the foundation for her ownership of Coyote Pass. The cumulative weight of the evidence is staggering. Her history as the primary breadwinner, her meticulous creation of equity, her documented investment into specific parcels, All of it forms a picture that is impossible to refute. Beyond a reasonable doubt, Janelle Brown was the financial bedrock of the Coyote Pass acquisition. Yet, astonishingly, this foundation, this very bedrock, was systematically ignored and exploited. The person entrusted with stewardship over the family's wealth, the patriarch Kody Brown, alongside his favored wife Robyn, would marginalize Janelle and misappropriate the very resources she had provided. While Janelle lived frugally, enduring hardships on the windswept land she had financed, Kody and Robyn indulged in comfort and luxury at the collective's expense. This wasn't just a domestic disagreement. It was a betrayal of fiduciary duty on the highest order. Fiduciary duty is not a suggestion. It's a sacred obligation. Whether you're a CEO, a trustee, or even in this unorthodox family structure, the patriarch managing collective assets, the mandate is clear: act in the best interest of all parties, avoid self-dealing, operate transparently, and allocate resources equitably. By this standard, Kody Brown's actions after the purchase of Coyote Pass are nothing short of textbook violation. The evidence isn't hidden in a dusty ledger. It's visible for the world to see, the stark, humiliating contrast between $1 million home and a fifth-wheel trailer. Upon arrival in Flagstaff, the family was already stretched thin financially and logistically. The plan, though loosely defined, was to develop Coyote Pass, to house the wives and children and begin building a legacy. Instead, an immediate and telling decision was made. Kody and Robyn purchased a sprawling $900,000 house, which, with the added land, pushed the total investment well over $1 million. They claimed it was a temporary rental, yet soon converted it into a permanent asset, saddling the already strained family finances with a massive mortgage. This wasn't an innocent mistake. It was the first, most significant act of financial misappropriation. From a fiduciary perspective, the decision is staggering. The family's most valuable asset was undeveloped land at Coyote Pass. The urgent need was to house Janelle, Christine, and their children, whose lives were tethered to temporary rentals. A responsible fiduciary would have directed every available resource toward breaking ground on the property, solving the housing crisis, and growing the family's net worth. Instead, Kody and Robyn diverted crucial capital and borrowing power into a single asset for themselves, leaving the rest of the family in limbo. This mansion didn't benefit Janelle. It didn't benefit Christine. It served only one branch of the family. The same funds, and more importantly, the credit capacity, could have built at least 2 of the smaller homes planned for Coyote Pass. Every dollar redirected was a dollar stolen from communal purpose, a direct affront to Janelle's investment and sacrifices. Meanwhile, Janelle, whose prudence had made Coyote Pass possible in the first place, faced an immediate crisis. Her rental was sold, leaving her without a home, a stark illustration of both her pragmatic nature and the extent of the family's financial mismanagement. This is not just negligence, it is strategic exploitation, and it lays bare the true cost of Kody and Robyn's choices. Janelle's response to the chaos was both pragmatic and symbolic. She purchased an RV, a fifth-wheel trailer, and parked it squarely on the land she had personally financed at Coyote Pass. The imagery was jarring, almost cinematic. On one side of town, Kody and Robyn basked in luxury in a sprawling home with forested views, enjoying the fruits of the family's collective labor. On the other, the woman who had been the primary financial engine of the family lived in a mobile home on undeveloped dirt, battling frozen water pipes and the harsh realities of off-grid life. This isn't just unfair, it's misappropriation in its purest form. Imagine a business partnership where 2 investors each put in $1 million to purchase commercial property. But instead of developing it, one partner uses the company's line of credit to buy a lavish personal mansion, while the other is left living on the property in a trailer, guarding the investment. Any court in the country would recognize this as a breach of fiduciary duty. This is exactly what happened. TLC income, which theoretically belonged to the family as a collective, was diverted to service Kody and Robyn's mansion, while Janelle's portion couldn't even secure her a proper home. Insider reports from former production staff confirm that Janelle repeatedly proposed a logical, equitable solution: sell Kody and Robyn's extravagant home, use the liquidated equity to pay off Coyote Pass, and fund essential infrastructure, utilities, septic, foundations to allow the family to build a sustainable future. Her proposal, however, was met with outright hostility. Kody and Robyn refused to compromise their comfort for the collective good. They framed Janelle's practical plan as an attack, disregarding the very real financial danger their choices imposed on the family. They consciously chose personal luxury over collective solvency, allowing their own mansion to sit fully financed while Janelle's investment, her hard-earned equity, remained dormant on an undeveloped patch of dirt. Every mortgage payment on their home was effectively diverted away from developing Coyote Pass. Janelle living in her RV was not just symbolic of independence. It was a living testament to their financial malfeasance. She was the creditor living in a shack while the debtors thrived in a palace. This was not abstract injustice. It was mathematical, a quantifiable imbalance in the family ledger, growing with every passing month. Kody had chosen a favorite, using the very resources of the others to feather her nest. And then there's the mysterious case of the paid-off lot. When Kody Brown departed, she was bought out of her Coyote Pass share using proceeds from her Flagstaff home. But property records reveal a more troubling story. One parcel, fully paid off, free and clear, was allegedly leveraged by Kody and Robyn to secure a line of credit for their personal use. The only fully unencumbered equity in the family's estate was potentially siphoned to fund their household, leaving nothing for the collective project. If this theory is true, it is a breathtaking betrayal. They weren't just living in luxury while Janelle lived in a trailer. They were using her investment as collateral, draining the core equity she had built for personal gain. The lack of development on Coyote Pass, the uninstalled utilities, the halted infrastructure, all point to one possibility: the family wasn't broke. Its assets were being hollowed out by one household at the expense of all others. Janelle's presence on the land, her RV, her vigilance, her continued labor, was the only thing giving the project legitimacy. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, her money, her sweat equity, and her sacrifice were being exploited as an ATM for someone else's dream. This was not just disparity in lifestyle. It was strategic, paper-based financial warfare, and Janelle was fighting alone on the front lines. The stage is now set for the final act. After reviewing the financial history, the misappropriation of assets, and the blatant neglect of fiduciary duty, the verdict is clear. This is not about emotions or morality, it's about the numbers. The ledger tells the story. A partnership dissolved, a business mismanaged, and one partner enriched at the expense of the other. The ruling is undeniable. Janelle Brown, through her direct, documented, and substantial financial contributions, holds an unassailable claim to her portion of Coyote Pass. Her victory is not just a personal triumph. It is a vindication of foresight, discipline, and rightful ownership. Janelle's victory is not a moment of luck. It is the culmination of 3 decades of meticulous financial strategy. She has built a fortress of solvency, leverage, and autonomy, a position that allows her to reclaim every dollar of her life's investment, leaving Kody and Robyn Brown holding nothing but debt, liability, and the deed to a dream they cannot afford. To grasp the full weight of this triumph, we must first shatter the myth that has dominated the Brown family for years: Kody's supposed patriarchal authority. In Kody's fantasy, the family was a kingdom under his absolute rule. He was the CEO, the king, the sovereign of all assets, and the wives were merely managers at his pleasure. According to this worldview, what Kody wanted was what the family needed. Buying Robyn a mansion? Clearly a family expense. Janelle living in an RV? A quirky choice, not the direct consequence of his financial mismanagement. All the money flowed into one pot, and he, the patriarch, had the right to decide who got what. But reality and the law does not bend to fantasy. The family pot was not a legal entity. Kody's authority carried no corporate or fiduciary weight. Janelle Brown was not his employee. She was a partner. Her income, her years of disciplined financial contribution, were capital invested into a joint venture. Kody's claim to unilateral control? Legally meaningless. He was a fund manager with a duty to act in the best interest of all investors, Mary, Christine, and Janelle. His diversion of assets, prioritization of Robyn's comfort, and leveraging of communal resources for personal gain? A catastrophic breach of fiduciary duty. Janelle's victory is therefore threefold: leverage, solvency, and freedom. Victory of leverage. As a documented co-owner of Coyote Pass, Janelle holds the ultimate bargaining chip. The property, now partially mortgaged and lacking infrastructure, is a liability to Kody and Robyn, not an asset. Her name on the deed gives her 2 formidable legal options. She can demand a buyout, but Kody and Robyn, drowning in debt, with mortgages, HELOC obligations, and a household sustained only by a finite TV income, cannot possibly produce the cash. The moment she demands her share, Kody must admit his financial impotence. Her second option is even more devastating: a partition sale. She can petition the court to force the sale of the entire Coyote Pass property, every parcel, every inch, auctioned to the highest bidder. Mortgages paid, equity distributed, and Kody's grand vision obliterated. The land he imagined as his legacy would be liquidated, leaving him powerless while Janelle walks away with her capital. This is the ultimate leverage, the power to dictate the fate of the empire he thought he controlled. Victory of solvency. While Kody and Robyn dug themselves ever deeper into debt, Janelle quietly maintained her financial independence. Her retirement accounts, bank accounts, and personal investments remain intact, untouched by the chaos of Coyote Pass. When she walks away, through buyout or forced sale, she walks away liquid, solvent, free. She can buy a home, invest, travel, and live independently. Robyn, by contrast, has tethered her financial identity entirely to Kody's failing empire. She has no exit strategy, no independent wealth, just a mansion and a sinking co-debt with a partner whose public image and earning power are both collapsing. Victory of freedom. Perhaps most profoundly, Janelle has bought back her autonomy. For years, she subordinated her needs to the collective, only to see her contributions ignored, undervalued, or exploited. Her frustration was visible, her pragmatism constantly thwarted by Kody's whims and Robyn's anxieties. By establishing her clear legal claim, she has cut the last chains, freedom to live on her terms, to protect her family, and to ensure her hard-earned savings are hers alone. While Kody and Robyn preside over a kingdom of dust, burdened by mortgages, unbuilt infrastructure, and public failure, Janelle moves forward. She built her own lifeboat years ago while they polished the brass on a sinking ship. The land at Coyote Pass, once intended as Kody's legacy, now cements her victory. She is not just a survivor. She is the queen of Coyote Pass. Kody and Robyn? They are caretakers of a failing empire, forever haunted by the financial ghost of the woman who saw the truth and acted. The Brown family's story, pitched as one of faith, ends as a cautionary tale of finance and foresight. Equity ignored, partners undervalued, and a patriarch who prioritized ego over enterprise. Janelle was the quiet CFO who staged a hostile takeover, not with lawsuits, but with decades of discipline, foresight, and a lifetime of receipts. She didn't just leave. She liquidated her stake, exposing the entire house of cards. She holds the keys to her freedom, the ultimate leverage over Coyote Pass, and the power to write the final chapter of her life. The lesson is clear. The only real power is the power you pay for. If you agree that Janelle's strategic foresight and financial acumen earned her this ultimate victory, type Queen Janelle in the comments below. The final judgment has been delivered. And if you want to witness the full collapse of the Brown Empire, make sure to subscribe to SisterWives crew and hit that notification bell, because the next chapter promises to be shocking, dramatic, and unforgettable.